All right, let's hope I don't fuck this up. I haven't recorded a podcast in like 2 years.
This is the first one. It's great.
Yeah. Here we go. Episode of That's it. That's the intro. The Diary of a Piece of Shit. I am your host, Brandt David Tobler. My guest today is Ari David Shaffir.
Yeah.
I didn't name brothers.
That's pretty much any Jew is you guess their middle name. It's David.
It's David?
Unless their first name is David, and then still maybe sometimes.
Oh. Mine's from my dad. Which is
you should think you'd be able to drop it.
I should.
After the murder attempt, you think you'd be able to be like
It is not the best name, but I've thought about it and I've talked about it on here before that because he can always steal my identity because he's David Tobler and people are like, why do you let him do that? I'm like, he kind of knows my mother's maiden name. He knows when I'm born. Yeah. I can't really stop him, but
my brother had that when I went to get my license renewed when he turned 21 and so like, all right, where's your old license? I'm like, here, because you go from like side facing to front facing. Yeah. And then they go, oh, we need the one you didn't lose. And I'm like, and I'm such a fuck up that I'm like, when did I lose my license? Did I lose it and then forget and then find it again? And they're like, I'm like, I don't have it. And they're like, is this still your address? And they gave the fucking University of Maryland dorm address my brother stayed in. Uh-huh. So I'm like, ugh, this asshole. So he was 2 years younger than me. He took my social security card out of my mom's desk, my birth certificate, it's 2 forms of ID, went down there and said, I'm Ari Shaffir, I lost my license. And so he had one with his picture on it, a valid license.
The perfect fake ID.
It would run.
Oh, of course.
And it's his picture on it.
Well, it's funny, the first time I ever got arrested was here at there's a bar downtown across the street from Coors Field. And we went through, and I was with my buddy who was like a star basketball player at the college here. So he's kind of cocky anyway. And we get up to the bouncer, and he gives him his ID, and the bouncer's like, is this you? He's like, yeah, man, it's me. What the fuck? And he's like, it is, huh? And he's like, yeah. He goes, this is my best friend from like kindergarten. And we're like, and we're done. And then immediately they had like a downstairs jail. And
whoa.
And it was funny because back then we thought we were like gangsters. And I wore these stupid Doc Martens. And I kept like a knife in my fucking Doc Martens for God knows what reason. We were going to a Rockies game. So then I was like, I'm not supposed to have this knife. I'm going to get in trouble because they took us down to casino, like the bar jail. And then I went in, I said I need to use the bathroom. And then I went in and I tucked it under the trash can, which was so dumb. It wasn't like they were going to search. I don't know what I was thinking.
Like, also, what are you taking for a Rockies game? Only worst case scenario.
Yeah, I know, but I watched Juice too much. That was like our favorite movie. It was I made a lot of.
That's great too. That he was like, yeah, it's me. What's your problem? Like, the attitude is for sure out of line.
Yeah, he was a bouncer's dream because he was like, oh, I can just validly talk shit to you. You volleyball said it.
My friend said he was at Michigan when the Fab Five was there. And it was Juwan Howard and Chris Webber going into the library or something, or the dining hall. And they're like, do you have your student IDs? And Webber had it and Juwan Howard did not. And he goes, yeah, I got mine. And he goes, no, but I'm Juwan Howard. I'm in the Fab Five. I'm the most publicized basketball player in this school's history. And they're like, sorry, I need your ID. And Chris Webber was like, that's good. That's good police work. You should not let him in. Here's my ID, so I'm good. Juwan, I'm sorry, buddy. I'll see you later.
I'll bring you food out. Yeah. That's funny. All right, we'll start with this first question. Well, we kind of got to it was the easy answer for me.
Have you ever been arrested with a knife in your pocket?
No. Have you?
I've been arrested at Maryland once. I was stealing periodicals for just do term paper over Thanksgiving break.
And they got you?
It went off. I took the fucking barcode off too. And they were like, that's not where the thing is that sets off the alarm. It's in the binding. I'm like,
oh fuck.
Like, so that you also destroyed our periodical thing.
Well, my first question is, who's the biggest piece of shit you know?
Luis Gomez is up there. Let me think. That's first answer. He's a fucking piece of shit. Jay's style is shitty. It might be Luis Gomez. Yeah. He's a friend of mine, but man, what a piece of shit. You want him on your side.
Yeah, for sure.
Because what a piece of shit to have against you.
What about you? What day were you?
Who's a piece of shit, biggest piece of shit? No, I'm trying to think. I know a lot of pieces of shit.
That's why I was happy you're the first guest, because I think this question's going to cause a lot of, but I think a lot of people are going to be very hesitant to just come out firing, and you did not even take
I mean, he's such a piece of shit. But also, it's like, who's the biggest piece of shit you're friends with? Or who's the biggest piece of shit you know? I know some pieces of shit, but I don't even want to bring them up.
Yeah, but Lewis is a good answer.
Yeah.
He's a good piece of shit.
He's a good piece of shit, but if like you have an ex-girlfriend, he will fuck her. He won't be like, he's like, you've been broken up for a week. She's open territory. I'm like, piece of shit. And then he'll defend you hard.
What about you? What day were you a huge piece of shit?
Oh, let me think. I'm trying to think what I've done.
Besides stealing from the University of Maryland, which is not a piece of shit at all. They have billions of dollars.
Yeah, I was trying to study. Damn. Let me think. Oh, I stole money out of a teacher's purse once in high school. What a fucking dipshit. She was, I mean, looking back, she's just a woman, probably my age now, working, trying to educate kids. Yeah. And she wasn't there. And I was like, oh, and I wonder why I stole $20. What a fucking ass.
Was that all she had, or you just...
No, I took everything she had. Yeah, I wasn't like, let me leave her with some. I was like, let me grab anything I could have.
I got in trouble like
Mrs.
that.
Scales, I'm sorry, lady, if you're still alive. I'm also sorry about making fun of the way you said Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. That's just your regional accent.
That probably hurt more than the $20.
It did, because she was like, test is on Friday. And we're like, when's the test again? And she was like, Friday. And we're like, okay, so not Thursday? She goes, no, Friday.
Boy, stealing like out of a purse, that just made me think of something. I got in big trouble from my bosses. One time we got hookers in Phoenix, and the hooker gave me a blowjob, and then she put the $200 in her purse, and then she went in the bathroom like clean up, and I just because I got robbed by hookers.
Yeah, exactly. Young, that's the deal. So you know the deal.
But then, so I took it back, and then I left, and we were staying in this resort. So I was drunk. I took off in the golf cart. My boss was calling me back, and he was like, "She's not going to do anything with me because you took her money." And then they took me to dinner the next night. And they gave me this big lecture, and I tried to defend myself.
Don't steal from hookers.
I was like, hookers robbed me before, and they were like, but they were rich guys that were like, they said they were escort. They gave me a big lecture, and I was like, okay, I won't steal from hookers.
I love when someone gives you a lecture, but you're like, I don't really believe this.
Yeah, well, I need. Well, it's
like you're just mad about it, but I don't think you're right. So I'll take the lecture, but like, it's always like you're technically right, but not really.
I had to, because it was my boss. I had to listen, but I was like. Yeah, and $200 to you guys. You guys are multimillionaires. I was like, I needed that. And she got makeup all over my. Back then was when everyone was wearing those Mitchell & Ness jerseys. Yeah. Oh, and it was like I had this cool ass jersey, and I was like, I'm gonna have to get it dry cleaned and like.
Take the $200 you need. You're right. Hookers rob you. That's
first time we got robbed was in Albuquerque. We didn't know what we were doing, and there was 4 of us traveling to Phoenix. And it was just like on call, and it was like $200 each, it said. So we each got $200. We went over, bought condoms, did all that shit. These 2 girls came in, took their shirts off. Well, turned on the clock radio back then, took their 2 shirts off, danced around for a second. And then before we knew what happened, their shirts were gone. And we were back on, and we were gone. And we were like,
what happened?
Yeah, and we called the Albuquerque police, and they just laughed at us.
It's like, but that's bullshit, because if they rob you by like going into your wallet and taking money out, like that I see. But like, you're just not gonna. You fucked plenty of guys. You fucked 19 guys today. I know you got my money. Can't you just blow me? It's not that big a deal for you. I get robbing me, but like, just do the blow.
Well, you know now I guess this is the hooker show that we're doing, but a comedian buddy of ours, he'd never had a hooker. I was like, just get a hooker. And he has no reason to get a hooker. He's a super good looking dude. Never needs one. Yeah. But one day I think his times were tough in New York, and he called a hooker up. And then a big, huge black guy came to the door, and he answered the door, and he was like, hey, just so you know, she's right downstairs. I just want you to know you got to treat her with respect. If you don't treat her with respect, I'm right downstairs. If you do anything, just know if I'll come and fuck you up. She'll take good care of you, gives the whole spiel. So he's like, it's $500, and then I'll send her right up. But just remember, if you treat her bad, I'm coming back up here. So then he gave him the $500. Gone. Just gone. And then
it's so funny. That's like a magician, like, like distract you with the respect thing. He's like, absolutely. Also, no, I won't respect this hooker. What? She doesn't get respect. I'm here to fucking shoot a fucking load in her face. What are you talking about? What respect?
Yeah, he learned his lesson.
You mean don't punch her. Okay, fine, don't punch her. That's different than respect. No, that's so funny. Yeah, give me the money, I'll send her up. It's the oldest fucking thing.
It just made me think, man, because again, you can't do anything.
Dude, I hate hookers. I mean, they're fine, but it's like so nerve-wracking that you're going to do it wrong. Yeah, you gotta really, I guess, do enough of them where this is casual.
See, it was Vegas, so I didn't know about them. Then my boss, like, would he have a big day, we'd learn about them. But then the one mistake I made one time was we were in Costa Rica. Yeah. And they were so aggressive and so cheap, but we couldn't bring them to our hotel room. That was the hotel wouldn't let you bring them in. Fair. So then we were like just young and horny, and I was like 23, and my best friend Justin, and they're like $50 would blow you. just come to our place. And we went up into the Costa Rican jungle into like a little T-framed house and got blowjobs, obviously survived. But to this day, when we bring it up, we're like, what? We should have got murdered. We were asking for it.
Yeah, just like luring you into their lair. We're like, these guys have money, they're coming.
Yeah, it was a bad idea.
There was a movie where I think it was Clear and Present Danger, one of those, like whoever writes all that.
Yeah.
And it was some Irish guy at a bar. I guess he was in the IRA or not the IRA. And then some redhead Irish lady was like, met him at a bar and then like took her back to his hotel room and like blew him and fucked him, whatever. And then like she went to change and she got a gun and was like, I'm in the IRA. And she shot him. But I was like, oh my God, the IRA. And I forget which side he was on, but it was like, why blow him though? Why do any of that? Yeah. Just shoot him.
Well, that's the other people. Then because most people never get hookers, and they ask me like, are you worried about getting robbed? And I'm like, the one lesson that I was always learned is, so you get a hooker, and then they come in the room, and then you go, oh, hold on, I gotta go to the bathroom, and then you go hide all your shit in the bathroom. But the second you come, the hooker's like, takes a condom, and is like, I gotta go to the bathroom, locks the door, gets dressed, goes through everything, and then the second she opens that bathroom door, she's gone. And you're like, in
other words, I go to the bathroom, change, and then they're right by the front door. They just fucking run.
Gone. Yeah. Don't get hookers is our advice. But if it happened to do it,
I just get so nervous I'm going to do it wrong. And it's like, where's the money go? Like Tijuana ones, it's just like, okay, am I doing this correctly?
Yeah.
But I mean, I was nervous the first time I ordered off the menu from In-N-Out. You know, when you get animal style, I'm like, I don't want to do this correctly. Animal style, like, how do you want that? Like, animal style? Like, double, cheeseburger.
Well, that's the thing with something like that. There's no book really. You just learn. People tell you, hey, just go do this. And then you have to trust that what they're saying is like, put the money here, say this, do that.
One of the best pranks is this. You can always do it. Everybody at home, you guys can do this. Someone will ask you what somebody's name is because they should have learned it already. Mm-hmm. You know? What's their name again? Let's say Georgia showed up at the fucking club. I was like, hey, what was her name again? And that's... To say the right name in that situation is so dumb. Do not say that. That's your chance. Because then they're learning the name. So you just go, what's the name close to Georgia? I guess like, I don't know, Georgina, let's say. I'm like, okay, Georgina. And then now that I've learned her name, if I'm wrong, I'll make a point. Like, nice to see you again, Georgina. Yeah. It's really a pleasure. All right, Georgina, see you. They won't tell, like, no, it's not my name. If somebody asks about me, it's Aaron. His name's Aaron. They're like, nice to see you, Aaron. I had a guy call me Aaron for like a year once, and then he found out it was Ari. Like, why did you correct me? I'm like, I don't know, you were trying so hard. And then it was too late.
That is a weird thing that people don't correct. There's been plenty of times I get Brent and I'm just like, whatever, you got it.
Yeah. So this whole podcast is going to be, why are you a piece of shit?
Yeah, well, so what's going to happen is there's some questions, and then so I have all these stories from people that don't want, that have great stories, but they want to remain anonymous. So it's like a diary. So I'll do a diary of at the end, after I'm done with you, I'll just do a diary and read. Because I had people have come to me with these stories once, like especially from your show and stuff. People are like, I have a story like that, but I could never tell it. And then sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not good. Then sometimes they're good enough. Like, well, the world deserves to hear this, but you don't want to lose your job at Pepsi or whatever.
That's the problem. I do a podcast, and you've been on there. Yeah, it's about like one thing, one topic, killing your dad, or whatever. But like, I've wanted to do one about cheating, but you can't get anyone who's currently cheating to be open about it because they're still trying to like keep everything secret. You got to be like, I'll air this when you break up. You're not going to last more than another year. You hold on
as revenge.
Yeah.
Well, I think cheating's so hard now. I used to be a cheater when I was younger, and then I like to say I just grew up and I don't do it anymore. But the truth is, technology is so strong because back in the old days, if I was cheating, the girl would be like, I know you're cheating on me. I'm like, that girl, she's just jealous. She's just making this shit up.
Like, what about this?
Oh yeah, that's your dick on her dining room table. It's like, if you want to know how to cheat, this is not good advice. What I say is, if you want to cheat on your spouse, what you do is you get one of the apps like Words with Friends, or you get like a game app that has chat on it. Because then when your spouse thinks you're cheating,
she'll never go.
They start going through your stuff. They go email, text, voicemail, social media, Instagram. And then at some point you got to hope once they go through like 8 things, they're like,
they'll never look on Scope.
I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I'm crazy. I went through everything But then you're just in Words with Friends in the chat just firing away. I shouldn't be giving out that good advice, but I think at some point, if you think your partner's cheating and then you go through all that, at some point you're like, I'm an asshole.
Yeah,
I'm accusing him and I went through everything.
Nothing. Yeah. That's a problem. It's everything's in writing now.
Yeah. So you don't want to do that.
There was a book called The 50 Mile Rule before the internet. And it was like, if you cheat, keep it outside 50 miles. It'll never come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
They won't know your name. If you're on a business trip, there's no way they can find. They're like, you live in LA somewhere.
Yeah.
Your name is, yeah.
It's just exhausting. The times you can never let your guard down. I got caught. I had a girl carve the cheater in my car, like right out of a country song.
Wow. And you're like, I know what this is about.
Yeah. It's not good.
Damn.
Don't cheat. But if you do,
dude,
be careful. Well, that's hookers. Then they'll never going to tell anyone.
That's what
a massage parlor is for. Sometimes you just got to mix it up. You still love your girl. Let me give you a couple Patreon questions.
Okay.
This is what I think is so funny is, so I put out to the Patreon. I said, and if you jump on Patreon.
I just closed my Patreon.
You done with it?
Yeah, I was just like, it was just such a pain. And I was like, I'd rather just like walk around. Like I was like, I had to do one yesterday. And then I'm like, I'd rather just walk on Cherry Creek.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't just be working all the time. It's stupid. If I was making Shane money.
I was making Shane.
Yeah.
I gotta just jump on the Patreon. It'll help pay for this. This is not free.
What's the Patreon?
Just my Patreon. Well, I do the Craigslist.
Brandt Tobler?
Yeah, just Brandt Tobler on Patreon. But I do the Craigslist Chaos
on there,
which we can't. Which, if those of you guys know, we don't want to get out to the public because I think it's probably illegal. So that's the reason to join the Patreon. So if you know, you know. But so I reached out to the Patreon, all the Patreon people, and I said, you can ask Ari any questions for Ari. And the question I got the most is, can you ask him when the next Protect Our Parks will be? I was like, oh, you're just turning into my podcast just to get a date so you can see the podcast.
So when's this going to air?
They just were like, yeah, can you just tell us when he's going to do Protect Our Parks again? Which I get, I love it, but it's so
it's great.
fucking...
There's no schedule. It's just like, one's out. You're like,
I think that's why they're so frustrated. They're just like, can we know when we get to hear it? But
it's so funny trying to schedule with 4 people too.
I mean, and it's so successful now. I mean, everybody's doing shit.
And Rogan's like, let's just do it this day. We're like, I can't on the road. It's like, who cares? I'm like, no, because you just drive across town to do it. We have to go to Austin.
Well, it just happened the first time organically, right?
No, here's how it happened. It was Skankfest.
Mm-hmm.
There's no skanks.
Repping the biggest piece of shit, you know?
That's right. Louis Gomez, he doesn't have a middle name. And so what we did is I decided to do a spite show.
Uh-huh.
It was at the secret group in Houston. And we're like, let's go the day before Skankfest and just charge money for tickets for the best show. Because Norman at the time was like, I'm not going to be able to be at Skankfest. I'm like, can you come the day before? So we have a better lineup than Skankfest. And he's like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll stop in the day before. We got Shane to come a day early, me, him, and Shane. And we're like, going to put on a show, $20. And we're like, no, but people bought tickets. I'm like, for your thing, not for our thing. And we're keeping all the money. It was just a spite show. And it was fun. And so then I called Rogan and Segura. I was like, hey, we're going to Houston on this Wednesday. Is anybody interested in having us on Tuesday? Or on Wednesday morning? That's what it was, on Wednesday. We can come in a day early to Houston, Austin, and then just drive. Tom didn't respond, and Rogan just jumped on it. He's like, I want that. Just me, Shane, and Norman. And he goes, yep. And then we did it. He was like, we have to do this again.
That's such great because people tell you not to be petty and spite, and it's
spite
created
works.
The greatest podcast.
Yeah. Oh, dude, use spite as a drive. My last special was all like Edinburgh Comedy Festival, the Fringe Festival. They always think they're so fucking hoity-toity because they do these themey things. But it's so dry and dumb and like it's 25 minutes of not funny. And I'm like, I'm going to try to make a theme special to fucking throw that in their fucking stupid faces.
And
spite drives you.
Oh, I love it. That's so funny.
Yeah, and it was just great right away. Rogan was telling some story. And once you get the buffer of your other comedian friends, so then Rogan's telling some story about the fucking, I don't know, the Egyptians or something like that. And Norman just starts going, and it was like, what? It was just that moment. And he goes, all right, it was boring. I'll give you that.
Yeah, which nobody does.
No one does.
No one has. Well, that was the other Patreon's question. They're like, they want to know, I mean, you have such a good relationship with Joe, and he always says you're one of his best friends, but
yeah, for sure.
You like give him shit. Like no one, you're not really scared of him. So they were like, they want to know what's the time that Joe got the most mad at you?
Oh, let me see. He does get mad. He used to get mad. He used to get mad for like not having built a website and stuff like that. Let me see when he gets mad at me. It's just so funny. It's like, you're like, he used to get mad at me for smoking. And now he fucking smokes. He's fucking hypocrite. I'd be outside smoking. I remember I was like Atlanta or something at that hotel, just smoking outside. And then he'd come out and be like, it's going to fucking kill you. You're smarter than this. I'm like, smart. It's a fucking chemical addiction. It's not intelligence. And he's like, smart. And then I just put it, I go, so you can stop. And it was like, no, because I wanted a cigarette. I didn't want a cigarette and yelling. So I'll just have a full cigarette with no yelling later. It just gave me so much shit for so long about it. And now I see him just smoking cigarettes. And I'm like, hey, listen, you can change. Yeah, I need a public apology.
Yeah. Is it coming?
No.
The next?
No. Absolutely not. I'm trying to think when he gets mad at me. I don't even know.
You see, well, I mean, that's what I like. I think that's what everybody likes about it.
Well, I learned from Diaz. Diaz would tell him to fuck off. At some point, the problem is you rely on somebody for money, and so that you can't be fully honest with them. And Joe put in, like, you can be fully honest with me.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, you got to test it. And then Diaz would just, like, he would get short tempered, especially when he was, like, doing blow a lot. And it's like, if he hadn't had any that morning, he was cranky. And so if Joe would be like, I'll be downstairs in 10 minutes, let's meet. And if we're done in 20, 25 minutes, Diaz would be like, fuck you. I'm a fucking grown-up. You don't leave me down there. Fuck, eat your fucking pile of dicks. And he'd be like, no, I'm sorry. He's like, you're not sorry. Don't ever, I'm fucking. And it was like, whoa. But Joe wouldn't be like, you can't come with me anymore. Joe would be like, I got to be on time downstairs.
Yeah, Joey can get away with.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two can have their own set of rules.
Yeah.
That only they could yell at each other, I imagine. I don't think there's too many other people yelling at Joe like, get the fuck down here.
He would just fuck with them so much. It was so great. He would always tip people really well. Like when we were in Vegas, stuff like Fear Factor days, or not even, but maybe before that, he tips them. He goes, are you our limo driver the whole weekend or whatever, or driver the whole weekend? He goes, yeah, I think so. He goes, well, just in case, here's like $200, whatever. And the guy's like, oh, shit, thanks, for like a 20-minute drive. He's like, thanks. And then Diaz just goes, there's more where that comes from. Like, just taking credit for it. He's like, you didn't even give it to him.
He's I mean, with those This Is Not Happening days when he would he's just I think Joey's like the funniest.
Yeah, he's the best.
And just
he's storyteller, but it's just comic in general.
Yeah, he is so funny. Well, speaking of that, everyone else, they want to know about This Is Not Happening.
Yeah.
Can it ever come back or?
I don't know. I was thinking about it the other day. I always kind of thought maybe I would, but then the more I thought about it, you tell me, you've done it. You're an alum. Shit's different now. Everyone has their stories up on podcasts.
Yeah.
When I was hearing like that story or like Jeff Dye talking about fucking Jersey at basketball, I'm like, oh, dude, you got to come tell them on that show. It's like there was no outlet for stuff that happened. Yeah, and now it's like everyone's rehashed all these stories. I'm like, I'm doing a big podcast. Let me get my stories down.
Yeah.
Kreischer and Theo figured that out, and Diaz. And then it was like, so I don't know.
You know what's funny? I told someone that the other day. I was like, you should work on your material, but you should also work on your podcast material, because if you're not good on a podcast, you're never going to sell tickets to see the other shit you're working on.
Exactly. I mean, remember when like Burr started just doing his stand-up and Louis on like Conan, but at the desk.
Yeah.
He was just doing conversation. And it's like, well, 1 million people are going to see it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like, I can only do it on stage with the mic. It's like, I can just tell it to somebody.
Yeah. But
still, those shows
were so good. Well, that's the other thing. And we've laughed about it all week. That Comedy Central, like they get rid of the show, and now you have 12 sold out shows here, and they have no shows.
They have no shows.
And I was like,
a single show.
Has anyone ever from Comedy Central like apologized or just admit their mistake, or have they ever been like, damn, we really probably should have kept that going?
Yeah, it'd be nice to get a fucking apology instead of a blackmail. It would have been fucking nice.
Oh yeah, because that's how it ended, right?
They blackmailed me.
Well, you won in the end.
I guess so, yeah. It was just fucking frustrating, though.
Yeah,
but yeah,
sure.
Exactly. It's like, all right, whatever. The show's over.
Was it why was it just like an ego thing? If they just
I saw my special on Netflix, and they're like, no way. We made you an offer. I'm like, it wasn't a good enough offer. I didn't take it. And then they're like, but we have an offer. I'm like, and I never accepted it. I don't know what to tell you. I have a 2-part special. You don't have a place to do 2-part things.
Yeah.
And they were like, if you sell this on Netflix, we'll cut your show down for 20 episodes of 10, fire everybody with a week left. Good luck having them find jobs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you dick.
So didn't you take care of them and help them? And I've always heard these stories that you didn't want your crew to get fired.
Yeah, exactly. So it was either sell my thing to Comedy Central, have nobody see it, because they were just like, you guys, they were just on the downswing. It was like, no one's going to see this. I mean, not nobody, but not very many people. Netflix was way bigger.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And it was like, they're like, we'll fire these people. All the whatever, or you can walk away and we'll keep them all for their jobs. We'll find somebody else. Yeah. Rogan offered to do some fucking free hosting. He's like, I'll host 2 episodes for free.
Yeah.
And they're like, no.
They just had to make their point. Well,
yeah, I guess. It was like such a hard line. I was told too, I was like, you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
You guys, this is stupid. You don't have to do this.
Yeah.
And like, you made your decision. I'm like, it's not part, you don't own me. All these people think they own you.
Yeah.
And they expect you to fall in line, and then they hit you with these like threats, and they can't comprehend that someone would go, oh, no.
Yeah.
Then I'll just suffer. You're not
because back then you had, I mean, you thought Comedy Central was the end of that was the.
Yeah, I had a TBS show that we pitched, and it was a cool, funny show, and then they kept changing it and changing it and changing it. And then eventually it became like a lot more work and a lot more corny. And I was like, God, I'm not interested anymore. And they're like, but we sold, we're going to do it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to. And they're like, are you kidding me? We sold it. I'm like, guys, I told you 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You're made this corny. I don't want to do it. No, they couldn't comprehend that someone was just like, it's sold. We're getting it on the air. I'm like, not with me. Like,
did they replace you?
No, they just got really mad.
I love it that you're fucking fearless. Well, now the game's changed. Now your special Jew is, what is it? Crushing.
5.5 million views. It's great. It's great. Yeah.
I don't know if anybody will ever try to, I think YouTube's no one's even trying to do it anywhere else. I guess Netflix a little bit, but.
Maybe Netflix will give you some money.
Did you even consider it? You didn't even shop it? You just knew?
They would have had to pass up. If I put my special on Netflix, I'm probably getting 20-25% of the views. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, to do that, like, how much money are you going to offer me?
Yeah.
To make that worth it? And I'm like, the amount of money it would not be worth it for you, Netflix.
Yeah.
You know?
And then I'm sure they would have still had a few notes.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, we're going with this. I dropped a hard F-bomb in there, and it's like, they're not going to allow that. And I'm like, well, it's doing it. YouTube doesn't censor at all.
Yeah.
When you're on stage, they don't censor.
Which is great.
Yeah, it is.
Which is great. All right, what else?
I'm trying to get Rogan to go to YouTube.
Will he do it?
We'll see. I'm like, how much can they offer you to get 80% less views?
I mean, he keeps saying he's got one in the tank that
he does.
Huh?
Yeah.
Tell him tomorrow when you get to Austin.
Well.
He'll say, quit smoking and start YouTubing. Same thing you'd tell like a 15-year-old kid right now. That's my advice. Well, that's funny. I was telling you on the car ride over, Ari's given the two things I repeat that aren't real advice, but because if you don't have a car, one time you told me, like, if you don't have a car, it's great. You Uber, you have no worries. He goes, not having a car is great till you have to tell a girl you don't have a car, which is what I'm currently going through because I just rent Jeeps and stuff that they have here. And it's great. And I Uber and I could be irresponsible, no parking tickets. But then
fucking multiple cars.
If I'm on a date and I had girls like, what kind of car? I was like, I don't have a car. You can just see everything out of their body. Just go, this guy, is he home? Well, how is he paying for our dinner right now? Tell
their friends. Then you're like, what kind of car do you drive? Like, it doesn't matter, but BMW. And then but now it's like, it doesn't matter, but no car.
And the other one, which I've never done a drug in my life, but I've just noticed one time I forget who you're telling, but you're like, if you go to a town and you want drugs, just go find the park in the middle of the town and go to the biggest statue, and stand there for like 10 minutes and you will get any drug you've ever wanted. And whenever I've told people that, they're like, that is the fucking greatest piece of advice.
I think that's from Tom Rhodes. I think Tom Rhodes told me that.
Yeah.
Because he goes all over. I think he was like, that's how you find him.
Which would make sense.
But still, the advice works.
Yeah, when I tell to people, they're like, how do you have such great advice for someone who's never done a drug? Which the other thing I always say too is because I remember the first time we did a podcast, you're like, you haven't done a drug? You're a fucking dork. And you're like, do mushrooms. And I'm always like, I would, that's the one I would do, I think. And I have someone gave me some mushrooms. I have mushrooms at the house. But I was just thinking about that too. Last night, the guy gave you.
It's the biggest mushroom I've ever seen.
It was humongous.
It's the size of bigger than my fist. From here to here.
I know.
It was so big and thick. We got to weigh it.
We're going to weigh it tonight. The guy brought the biggest mushroom I've ever seen.
I want to keep it just to keep in my mantle.
Yeah.
It's so fucking big.
It was giant. He brought in a Gucci bag, and we were talking about that too. He just handed it to you and was like, because I'm sure have you had fans give you random shit whole?
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Boomers and Sid and weed, always weed.
Uh-huh. Anything weird?
Oh, yeah, weird like arts and crafts shit.
Yeah.
I had some plaster art vaginas somebody made with teeth on them. It was like teeth vaginas. Those are cool. I think I still have those. Some of them like, this is awesome.
That's what's so funny about Comedy Works. The people are such great comedy fans here in Denver. But if you do shows like at the end of the week and they're cleaning the green room, it's just like, oh, these people did something nice. Yeah. And maybe sometimes you don't have room in your luggage or something. But there's just a lot of times the last night of shows for the week, the green room's just full of weird shit. And the staff's like, does anybody want this weird stuff?
I used to have weed day before it was like, so I was living in LA and it was like, you get legal weed. It's tough to remember. especially in Denver or anywhere in America, really, that it was difficult to find weed, in certain places. But LA was not. We had dispensaries and, everyone had their medical card. And so I'd always take weed with me to, wherever, Kansas City. But if somebody gave me weed, I'm not taking it back. I would take one joint to get me through. And then like, if I'm finding a lot, I'm like, I'm not taking this back to where it's legal. I'm not risking it. So then I just have weed day with the staff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, here's a joint, here's a pipe, here's a whatever. I'm taking these, especially Montreal. Yeah. I always go to the staff at Just for Laughs. I'm like, it's weed day.
That's why everybody loves you, all the staff.
But shrooms and acid I'll take with me. I'll
take them with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, when the last time I opened for Joey, he just was like, and I think you said happened this time, someone just opened the green door and threw it in there.
Do a little fucking silver thing. Ben Roy was like, what's that piece of paper? I'm like, that's acid for sure. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's a piece of silver foil. Yeah. I know what it is. Fold it up. Like, there's no way. And I'm like, yeah. It was fucking, I got it. It was like Bernie Sanders was on the picture.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never had acid like that before. I've never seen it. Right? Is that Bernie?
Oh, yeah, it is Bernie.
Yeah, 4 tabs.
Bernie acid.
Bernie acid.
Joey just had like the counter was just full of drugs. He's like, you want any of this shit? I was like,
it's like you try to be nice about it.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm good. But
I realized it once in I think Calgary. I was trying to find weed. I used to tweet. I was like, if anybody wants to get me high after the show, I remember in Winnipeg once. I was like, 20 minutes after Rogan gets on, I'll be outside. And he's going to be on for an hour and 45. So you can miss 10 minutes of it. No big deal. And then we're out there. So people are like, oh, I didn't think you'd be out here. And I'm like, yeah. People were nice about it. So one guy was like, do you want some weed in Calgary? And I was like, yeah. He goes, here, I grew it myself. Some kind of purple. Blueberry. That's what it was. Blueberry OG. He gave me an ounce. And I'm like, oh, no, dude, I'm on the first flight tomorrow. Yeah. And it's fucking midnight. Like, I just want like a nug to smoke. He goes, no, man, please. And I'm like, I can't get through this. I'm not taking it from Canada. Yeah. No way. I'm going international.
He's trying to set you up to never see you again.
Yeah. He just kept going, you got to take it, please. It's so good. And eventually I realized like he wanted me to have it more than because I don't like to waste. I'm a Holocaust survivor. It's just like, you just don't waste.
Yeah. Hotel made.
But he wanted it so bad. Yeah. I've given it to guys on the outside, like bellhop stuff. So I took an ounce and I took some out and then I passed 3 like 16, 18-year-old girls in the hallway, just like snooty girls. And they're like, just randomly, not from the show at all. It was in a casino. They're like, do you know where I can get any weed? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Here. And they're like, what? Yes. And they just walked away. And they just think that's how you get weed.
Yeah, well, that's how hot chicks do get weed. Actually, I mean, you that was nothing new.
Yeah.
This is balls.
Like, let me just have a
just to think that you could just ask a perfect stranger in the middle of a casino, cameras everywhere. Hey, can I get some drugs? And you're like, yeah. And that's
Sometimes they just want you to gift. They just want you to smile. Like, oh, that is creative. Yeah. But I live in New York. We do this thing now called space porn. There's just we have no closet space. We have anything you get, you have to jettison something else.
Yeah.
So when someone's like, oh, I got a fucking, I got you this cowboy hat. Like, I can't, there's no place for it, dude. You're hurting me to have this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't live like you. I don't have any extra
storage.
Yeah, we hang our pans because like
it's either a cowboy hat or a towel. I'm gonna probably use the towel more. Here's another question they had. What's the best lineup you've ever been on? It might be
what? Might be what?
Well, the one you said that the Spite one is my favorite so far. But what's the best lineup?
Me and Joe Cantor and Joe List did a show. Cantor they still do them actually. P.S. 99, P.S. 107, something like that. He lived in an art house where they have like low income housing / artist income housing. And so you got to win a lottery to get in there, prove you're some kind of artist. He did. So he's been in there and it's like nothing. He's paying like $500 a month for New York, and it just won't go up. And they have this weird artist space. They have like gallery shows downstairs. And he was like, let's rent it out and do a show. And it's cool. It was a cool basement environment. So it was the 3 of us kind of hosting and switching off. Me, Cantor, Joe List, Attell, Big J, Fitzsimmons, and Louis C.K.
Damn.
I'm trying to think. And it was just like, and no one knew the lineup. We were just promoted the 3 of us. And they're just like, what? Somebody Attell comes in, they're like, what the fuck? Fitzsimmons like, oh my God. Jay closed it. Louis went up. They're like, what the fuck? It was just like, it was the best lineup in the world that night.
How many people got to see it?
It was full, but like 80.
Like 80?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like doing surprise shows.
I was thinking about that the other day, just how cool it is when you can get to that level. I mean, even for this week, people didn't know Brian was going to come out.
Yeah.
And they were like, Brian Simpson. But when you see it really, if you just showed up here one night and they didn't know you were coming, It's like it's a different kind of pop.
It's another thing. It's great.
It's like
I did a This Is Not Happening show. I'm still doing them live. I call it either This Is Still Happening or Ari's renamed storytelling show. I'm just like, I'm not gonna. You can't steal you can steal the TV part. But I'm still performing. That's another spite thing. I was like, I'll just name it. I'll just keep it going and rename it.
Which again has worked out well for you.
Yeah, exactly.
The spite thing is like no hookers and more spite.
Yeah. And I did one at Gramercy, which is like, okay, cool, big thing in New York. I moved it around New York so nobody like owned it. Nobody felt like it's theirs. Yeah. The way the Improv sort of felt because I used to do them there. Yeah. And it's like if I moved that store, like what the fuck? I'm like, so I made sure that once everywhere. Gramercy's a big show, so I was like, okay. It was. I believe it was DeStefano, Sal, Norman, Shane. There was somebody else. Sam Morril and Tim Dillon. And it was just like, and everyone, they don't know who's coming. They just know. So it's like you'll get some good comics. And usually it's like 2 people you'll know, 2 people like that are just killers, and 1 like brand new person that's just got a good story. And it was one after they're like, what the fuck? It was so great. It's so fun seeing this crowd's like lose it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a pretty monster lineup too, right there.
Yeah, Rogan called me on that one. And he was like, because I posted just the intros. He was like, please welcome Tim Dell. Please welcome Chris Depp. And he was just like, damn, dude, you got a lineup.
Who closes that?
Who went on last there? I don't know.
Tim?
There's one story after another. Maybe
on that, maybe just be the story.
It could have been Norman, because idiot fucking Norman was like, I got to run to a spot at the stand. I'll be right back. And I'm like, dude, I'm giving you $1,000 for this. I've just split the door. I'm giving you $1,000. Okay, you're going to make 25. He's like, I'm just running. I'll be back in 30 minutes. I'm like, well, their spot's 15 minutes. I mean, I guess if you get there in 5, I guess. So 45 minutes later, he's nowhere. So Sal, I'm like, Sal, you got to go on. And he's like, well, I don't. I'm like, you got to go on, dude. Norman's not back. Yeah, I think he might have closed it.
We kind of answered this. I was saying, do you collect anything? But you have no room to collect anything. But any like comedy stuff, is there anything from your career that's special that you've kept?
Yeah, no, you know what I'll collect? I collect like rocks and shells and like little trinkets from like places I've traveled. So like me and O'Neill were at the top of like, I think Alta. And we took it. He's always trying to get me to ski harder. So he's like, let's go hike out of bounds. And we'll like take our skis off and hike up to some, hit some fresh pow. And so we're up there and it felt like the top of the world. You can see like everything. And you just see a little rock and you're like, okay. It's like a great day skiing with a friend. And I'm like, I'll hold on to that. I'll put it in a thing. So the whole collection is like this big. Of just different rocks.
But you could pull them out and remember, like, this is...
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, what I want to do is I want to make a thing. So, like, maybe like a tabletop like this, with like a glass top.
Yeah.
And so little like boxes with like the glass so you can see each one. And then I want to have like a push button. So then my audio will like...
Oh, that'd be... We'll tell the story? Yeah.
It was I was in Indonesia where there's a fucking tree fell in the road. No one's getting through. We all started fucking helping and... They started chainsawing the thing, so here's a little fucking brick of that tree.
That'd be fucking really cool.
Yeah, I think it could be cool, but it won't be it'll just be for me and like hit a button. I went to one of the Meow Wolf like knockoffs in Oklahoma City. I forget what it's called. Meow Wolf is like the best. Have you ever been there?
Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy? I've been to Vegas and I've been to the real one, but there's the one here I haven't gone to.
I thought this is the real one.
No, the real one's in Santa Fe.
Oh yeah.
And it's sweet.
This one is crazy.
Is it good? I haven't gone to it yet.
Oh, dude, it's. I mean, for sure, drugs. There are a lot of kids here, though.
Yeah.
But the one in, I went with Adrian in Factory Obscura. That's what it is, Oklahoma City. So it's much smaller, and it's about the size of this with a few different rooms, and they doll it all up, and you're lost in there. It's like 15 minutes. We stayed for like 45, just talked in there. It's fun. But there's this stereo outside. You can push buttons and have it go. And they're so like immersive and like helpful with artists. I'm like, how do you guys do this? He goes, let me show you. And he showed me how the wiring stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I could do that with these.
Oh, it wouldn't be that hard?
Yeah.
That'd be really
You just set it to an MP3. So each one's just connected to like.
That'd be a cool thing. Man.
Yeah. I got to get that done. And it's the summer. I'm taking the summer off.
So where are you going?
Nowhere.
Just
I might go to Iceland. But otherwise, just like some weddings and just like do nothing. Build some new material.
Yeah.
What about you? You collect anything?
No. I mean, it's weirdly, I just collect pennies. I think pennies are lucky.
I could not do that.
When I pick them up,
trouble for it, but get away with it.
when I pick them up now around people, they're like, "Why are you picking up a penny?" Just well, it's why when I was a high school kid, I'd never want to work. I'm always looking for a way to get rich and not work. And then so when I was in high school, I came up with a plan. Like if I got the biggest penny collection in the world, I would. So I was trying to break the world record for the biggest penny collection. Yeah. But then I was like, this is money. So if I just get all these pennies and then I'll just turn it and I'll have the money in the end. And then it was a stupid plan because I got so many pennies. I had a trash can full of pennies. And because everyone was like, well, no one wants their pennies. And then, but it still was like $900 or something.
Right.
And
it was not that much. And it's so hard to
move it and use it. So I collect, like, I just always pick up penny. People make fun of that, but yeah, I should have done it. It wasn't a brilliant plan, obviously. But then, I don't know, man. I don't really collect anything anymore. Again, once you move a lot, I've just lost stuff in the move.
So then you're like, I can start, but it's like I already missed out on all these other ones.
Well, you know what I do? Actually, I do collect. The best collection I have is I've saved every ticket stub since I was 8.
That's great.
But I totally forgot about it because they don't do them anymore. I haven't been able to get a ticket in the last probably year and a half.
I have a Roger Waters one, and but I don't know why they give us tickets. Yeah, normally they put on your phone.
Now you can't. I can't even get one if I want one.
Yeah, you can't even print one up.
But I was so committed to it. Like people would get annoyed with me because even we went to a game. And even a lot of times you get hooked up and then I'd still be like, oh, I got to walk around. Like I used to have a hookup at the Joint in Vegas at the Hard Rock where they would just walk me into every concert. But then when the concert was over,
you got to find some
I had to walk around and find one. And the people were like, come on, man, let's go. And I was like, I'll meet you or something.
You got a collection.
But I got Beastie Boys. I have a huge shoebox that has no real maybe it has monetary value, but to me,
you do a wallpaper like that.
Yeah,
though, just get once you buy a place.
But that's what I like about your thing is like the rocks is like sometimes when I'll just open it up and I'll go through it and I'll be like, oh, I was at a Duke Carolina game or I was at and then you're like, oh, I was at the Super Bowl or I was like, so. I'll
see those when I move. That's what I'm kind of a hoarder, so I'll like put something down instead of throwing it away. The tickets I'll just put it down. Then it gets like layers on top of it.
Stacks.
So when you move, you got to make sure you're not throwing it. And then you see something, and just for a second, you're like, oh yeah, LCD concert with like, I remember that one. I brought those guys. Yeah. Oh, that was so fucking fun.
Yeah.
And then chuck it and it's gone.
That leads to my next question. What is the best concert you've ever seen?
Could have been LCD at Bonnaroo with Soder. Mm-hmm. That was fucking great. And Jeremiah. And they were Pearl Jammers that year, and we're like, they're better than Pearl Jam. They were there a couple days later. They were both headlining. And Joe Lister's a huge Pearl Jam fan. He's like, you're out of your mind. That's no way. And I was like, that's not true because you were on drugs. But Jeremiah's like, I was on drugs, and I also agree. LCD fucking blew it out of the water. Flaming Lips in Ottawa was like, first time I'd seen him. I'm fucking bawling. It's just so fucking colorful and great. He's shooting fucking confetti out the whole time. He married 2 people on stage. It's like they met on 10 hits of acid. I'm going to buy the power of the Flaming Lips. I pronounce you man and wife. It was just so great. It was so great.
Did you go to a lot of shows?
And then Roger Waters in Austin. Yeah. It's definitely top whatever. It was just like, found some acid. Dude, you know how hard it is to find acid like at a moment's notice? That's why I was telling Ben, I was like, I gotta just have acid on me. It stores so easily and travels so easily. You gotta like false bottom in your shoe. So if it comes up, you'll have it.
You got it. Yeah.
You can keep it for a fucking year, but when you need it, it's hard to find.
Yeah.
So I was doing a Rogan's podcast with Segura and Kreischer. And he goes, hey, you want to stay tonight for Roger Waters? And I'm like, because he had just interviewed him like the night before. Yeah. And I was like, I can't. I got a flight home. He goes, I'll just change it. I bought it for you. I'll just change it. And I was like, okay, fair. But like, I got it. He goes, do you have anything to be home for? Or are you just going home? I'm like, no, I'm just going home. He's like, what are you talking about? You don't have kids. Like, this is what you live for. I'm like, yeah, but like, where am I going to stay? He goes, oh, changed. Another night hotel. I'm like, well, he goes, oh yeah, unlimited wealth. Che, you got it. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I'm like, yeah, what am I doing? Why am I even like having this thing of like, maybe I shouldn't? It's a fucking free ticket to Roger Waters with 2 really good friends. Yeah. Him and Hinchcliffe went together. And then I'm like, I got to find some acid. I was doing Sober October, so I asked the guys, I'm like, can I get a one-time special dispensation to like take a break? 1 hit acid, no weed, just 1 hit acid. No, not the day, just...
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, okay. It's religious fucking exemption, you know? Fucking. So, but then you got to find it. Duncan didn't have any. Tony didn't have any. Called around. It's just hard to find it. It drops. I'm not on Twitter anymore. That's where you could just tweet out like, can anybody hook me up with acid? And now I'm like a little more popular, so it's tough to fully just go find me drugs.
Yeah.
But then I found some. Freshly blotted acid. I had to like keep the container open and press it into the AC thing from the car to try to dry it off a little before I got in there. God damn, it hit hard. And I was like, Tony wouldn't do it. He goes, no, I'm waiting. He's never done it. He goes, I'm waiting for the right time. And I'm like, yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly.
It's the right time.
Yeah, you don't think a Roger Waters concert with your fucking chick and her friends is the right time?
WrestleMania or something?
What are you talking about, dude? This is it. This is it. So his fucking girlfriend was a real man about it. She was like, yeah, give me some acid. It was fucking great. But wait, why did you bring this up? But that concert, I mean, bawling, just like uncontrollable, shaking and crying. At some point, there was intermission. We go back. So we're staying, there's two places there. Like you can stay in two places. One, you can go up, we got seats for you in the top middle. And it was the first time he's doing it in the round. So it's like a stage like this. Mm-hmm. He keeps going to like different quadrants. But the screen, which is big, is a 4-quadrant thing. So we have a seat for you right in the middle. We can see 2 quadrants of the screen. If you're sitting anywhere else, you just see like a corner.
Yeah.
Or you can sit down here. It's kind of a private area. Still a good seat. There's no bad seats. And they're like, what do you want to sit? I'm like, I know where I want to sit, but I'm not internationally famous.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll understand. And Joe was like, no, let's sit in the stage, in the seats. I'm like, hell yes. And then we got to where the private area is. He goes, oh, no, we're staying here, which is fair. But up to intermission, and then I was like, I asked some lady who was like tour managing. I was like, from Glasgow. I was like, it's up there. It's the seats, right? She goes, I mean, that's great seats. I'm like, yeah, I'm going up. Told them all, I'm like, guys, I'm fucking
going.
I'm going. They're like, well, we got to leave the song before the end because he finishes the last song, he plays into the underneath and then gets right in his car and goes.
And he's out?
While the song is still playing. And he goes, we're in the cavalcade back. You got to be here before the last song. And I was like, no, I'm not going to be. And he's like, well, we got to go together. I'm like, nah, this is the best concert I've ever been to. I mean, I'm crying. His bodyguard's crying. It's so fucking good. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be. And the bodyguard's like, I'll come get you. He's like, no, dude, enjoy the concert. Like, I'll be fine. Like, how are you going to get home? I'm like, I don't know, Uber. And they're like, there's fucking 20,000 people leaving here. There's not going to be Ubers. And I'm like, then I'll walk. You can't walk in Austin, fucking 2 miles back. Are you crazy? This is the disgusting city in the world. And I was like, I'll figure it out. And Joe's like, dude, I'm like, Joe, I've done a lot of illegal drugs in a lot of dangerous countries. I appreciate your concern. I will be fine in Austin, Texas. And I did. And got out. Then I ran into Duncan. Hadn't seen him in fucking 3 years.
Oh, he was at the show too?
Just randomly. Yeah, he was there too. He knew the drummer or something. He's leaving. I see him as we're leaving. Dude, I'm standing up. They get a big fucking triangle with a fucking arrow through it. I'm fucking crying. Some 75-year-old ladies looking at me. I'm like, bitch, you fucking saw them in 1970. You know what the fuck's happening. And just shaking, crying. And then I see Duncan. I was like, Duncan. He does that celebrity thing where it's like, I'm not going to like look.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but he's so far ahead and people are in the way. But I'm like, Duncan, it's Ari Shaffir. And he's like, oh, hey. That was a great concert.
And then you just made it home, huh?
I made it home. We all walked and fucking figured it out.
That's awesome. Yeah.
You figure it out. Me and Norman were in Bonnaroo. And they were like, last shuttle goes back to the hotel. I don't know why they put us 40 minutes away. Like, you got to go as soon as the headliner's off. You got to go. And we're like, we're not done partying. And like, we'll figure it out. Like, what figure it out? There's no cabs. Whatever. It's like, I don't know, dude. We'll figure it out. And we did.
Yeah.
It's like, fine.
That's where the stories come from.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I say sometimes you got to make bad decisions to have a fucking career in comedy.
Yeah. Actually, separately, we were like, I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. I ended up at, this guy Travis was so cool. One of the drove us around. Ended up at the staff after crawfish boil for Bonnaroo. And so I'm there because I'm with him, like, oh, cool. And then all of a sudden, Norman, who's just been gone, he just missed it too. He shows up. He's like, hey.
He was doing a set somewhere.
He was fucking some chick. He's fucking some chick on a farm far away. They got back. It was great. But he shows up. I was like, what? You left that chick? He's like, I got a story for you. But then he sees all these crawfish. And he's from New Orleans. He goes, you left all these heads. You crazy? And he just starts sucking out heads out of these fucking cold crawfish. Yeah, he's such a Jew.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, that leads me to the next question. You are fearless, but what moment in life were you the most scared?
Oh, dude. Yeah, I'm not fearless.
Well, there's some of these stories right now, you're just like, fuck it, we'll figure, we
figure it out.
We'll figure it out. It's still kind of
same
like.
With mushrooms and stuff. I'm always scared every time I take them, but I just do them a lot. It's like anytime I travel, I get really scared of like outsiders. It's unjust. It's not like a fair fear, but like, they're all here to like rob me. It's just like xenophobia. American like elitism. But I'm like, it's more dangerous here.
Yeah.
But this is why I'm comfortable, so it's like fine.
But like in your travels, have you ever had anything that dangerous actually happen? Or
No, it's always been the threat of it, but it's really not.
So you're probably just prepared.
Also, I get to a point where I'm like, so like if I've traveled long, I'll like stay at hostels and stuff. But like, because it's more fun, you meet more people.
Yeah.
But I'm faking it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't have hostel income.
Yeah.
I have hotel income.
Yeah.
And if I'm gone for 3 or 4 months, I don't have hotel income. I can't afford a hotel night for 3 straight months.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's like I'm faking. So it's like if everyone's worried, like, what if they rob our bag? I'm like, I know, but I get into it. I'm like, then we're gonna, and then it hits me. I'm like, then I'll be fine.
You'll just
I'll just buy new clothes.
Brand new everything.
Yeah, exactly. If I have a computer stolen, it'll be an inconvenience. But it's like it won't. I had a friend tell me this once. There's stuff that matters on mushrooms and stuff that doesn't. So if you lose $100 bill, you're like, what the fuck? Damn it, it fell in my fucking pocket. But on shrooms heavily, you're like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know, it just, that shit doesn't matter. But your dad dying still matters.
Yeah.
You know, on mushrooms. So it's like, try to remember that. Yeah, it's like,
when you go on those trips, do people still recognize you a lot of places, or can you?
Rarely. It's great. Sal was telling me about it, where he goes to some place that it doesn't show his show, and he can just like feels it, because he's like an introvert a little bit. He doesn't want to be looked at. Like a lot of people don't. Jeff Ross loves it. Yeah. Tony loves it, you know? And he just gets like lighter and like, I'm just me here. I'm just some guy who's too drunk.
Yeah.
Instead of like
without people taking pictures or video or
yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, so I don't get recognized much in these places, but once in a while I do, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing on an island in Cambodia? Just walking along, and some guys with his wife, just like, what? What are you doing here? I'm like, I don't know, man. He goes, can I take a picture? I'm like, yeah, but don't post it for like a week. I don't want anybody to know I'm here. I'm gone in a week.
What about, has anybody recognized you that you were surprised, like knew you?
What do you mean?
Like someone else famous, or like in New York, or like, have you ever had someone like, oh, I can't believe this person knows who I am?
Yeah, it must have been. I kind of hate celebrities.
Well, you do shit on them all the time.
I do. And it's just
or have you ever had that where one of the celebrities are like, just, I heard what you said about me.
Yeah.
We don't have to bring that one up.
I'll just say I've learned from my mistakes. I try not to shit on comics anymore. Comic, I'll just talk to them in their face.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've been weak. You got to have a moral code. You got to know what you do when you fuck it up. So you just apologize. Try to take down whatever fucking interview you did. You're like, dude, I shouldn't have said that. Pull it down.
Yeah.
Not that you shouldn't have thought it, but you just shouldn't say it.
Should have said it out loud.
In interviews.
Well, you don't really care about celebrities and all that, but like, who have you met like that made you the most nervous? Is there anybody that?
Oh, good question. We met Ken Griffey Jr. once. Me and Simone, I think. We were at Renazisi's like premiere party for the league. They would do it like a joint premiere party for the league and Always Sunny. So like they're friends and they were all there. I'm not going to bother them or anything, but like we were just suddenly like Ken Griffey Jr. just next to us. And we grew up on him. And I'm sure now he doesn't get recognized as much, but like to someone in their 40s, it was
He's
like.
the man, yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like, we knew enough not to be like, dude, we're big fans or whatever. It was just like, what'd you think of the show? Like, it was really good. It's like, yeah, that first episode was awesome. I liked the Sunny episode better. But there was also really that part where he did this. And we're just talking to him. And then we're like, yeah, cool. We're just eating like fucking finger foods. And we're like, oh, man. And then we're like, all right, cool. Nice to meet you. But we didn't say anything. I was nervous of that. I'm trying to think who else.
Have you ever found out? It doesn't even seem like it's.
I'll leave. I'll just leave.
Oh, you don't even?
Yeah, I saw Schumer once and she was with some redhead from SNL. I don't watch enough to know, but she was like a big up regular, and then St. Vincent, and she was like, "Hi, meet my friend, whatever," and I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you," and it was like, and then like as I'm leaving, she's like, it's just like they're so cool, yeah. But it's like I know I'll dislike them if I meet them. Yeah. I know enough. I've met enough fucking toolboxes that I'm like, your art shit is your art shit, and that's what I'm into, not your personality. There's other people that I'm like, I do want to get to know that person and hang out. That's what seems cool about them. Yeah. But it's probably everybody's mad at Kanye. But it's like, you're not supposed to know him. Yeah. You're not supposed to know him. You're supposed to just listen to his music. It's so wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, people mad at me like, you fucking gave drugs to Bert. And it's like, yeah, dude. Yeah. That's not why you're coming to my show. Yeah. Putting on some stand-up. That's my favorite. His kids were there. I'm like, his kids were inside while his dad was supposed to get blackout drunk with his friend. Don't act like he was about to be dad of the year until I fucking stitched it.
What posters did you have up on your wall as a kid?
Oh, let's see. I had one of those Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue girls, Rachel Hunter.
Ooh.
Yeah, she was hot. See-through shirt. See-through bathing suit. I'm trying to think.
That was a big deal when we were kids.
Yeah, I couldn't really afford posters. It was just the fold out. Anything fold out was like a free poster.
Sports Illustrated.
Also, when you're a kid, it's just like 13 years old, just like you have access to a poster. You're like, sweet. Yeah. If any record had a poster, you're like, I'm putting that up. But I wouldn't have bought it. But like when you get it, you're like, cool.
Yeah. What's the best party you've ever been to?
Let's think about that.
That you didn't just take off out of the second it got cool.
Yeah. Best party. Damn. Wavy Davies' house in Edinburgh. I didn't understand how UK people fucking go hard. They go so hard, and especially Scots. They go so hard. And I'm hanging out with some fucking people that are there, not like comedians. Edinburgh's the best. 1,500 comics show up and take over the town. And other stuff too. But there's also just people who are there. They're like, oh, sweet, to become a party town this month. And I just have access to these people that are there. And it's Wavy Davy, this dude Davy, who worked at the fucking coffee shop that they all worked at. And it's just, each room has just different lines set up. And it's just like, just go. Just drugs. And I was so scared of Coke. Like I already done a line and I was so scared. And they caught me later. They were like, you just pushed a line. You didn't breathe in. I saw you not breathe in. You just pushed it aside.
Just moved it.
Yeah, I just moved. So it's like, oh, I did the line. They're like, you didn't. That was a fucking fun one. It went late. Sloss used to have good parties. Also, same shit. We go, watch UFC. It starts at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, you got to stay up. And it's like, all right, let's fucking stay up. Coke is shitty, but Coke parties are fun.
They're the best, yeah.
Yeah. It's just when two people are going to do it, it's annoying.
It's annoying, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, what are the best parties? What have you been at? That's great.
I don't. Mine are like simple shit that there was never like a big LA party where it was like fun. Like
Swartz and skate parties were the best.
Oh, I've always heard about those. Him and Eric Andre's parties.
I never went to an Eric Andre
But like I went to like cool, what I would say cool, what were considered cool parties in LA. Yeah. But no one's really that cool. Nobody would like
good parties in his backyard in Venice. But it wasn't that it was like cool people were there. It was like, whoa, they got all the hamburgers you could eat.
Yeah.
And fucking beer. It was just so cool. We're like adults doing adult shit. So you can't, like, people ask me if I miss a store, but it's like I miss the time and place that the store was when I was an up and comer. Where it was a failure place and just we all kind of ran it. We'd run a casino in the back with the bartenders who were supposed to be working, and they're like, "We need you to fucking work." Like, I'm in the middle of a hand, and it was like, it was just nuts. And like that shit's done. That time is done. There's a new crop making their own memories, but like that time for me is over.
But with rules and cameras and security,
the cameras really do fucking.
What is your? If I just say this crazy store night, what's the first thing that pops in your head?
I mean, so much, but like I'll tell you when it got bad. It was I'm changing the name here real quick in my head. Okay. So they go, they just go, I don't know, what's the girl's name?
Amy.
Like, Amy, huh? There are women at the store who've come and gone over the years. Let me set this up. I would call them pass-arounds. It's not the most flattering term, but it is they're there for a period of a week to a year, and they just want to fuck everybody. And we'll let them. Yeah. Sometimes they get into threesomes and foursomes. Sometimes they have trains run on them. Sometimes they're just like, fuck, dude. It's just like, they like to fuck. It's fine. There's no slut shaming. And they just like, we're all drinking all the time. And they're just like, it just happens. And everyone takes a turn. It's fine. No one gets mad about it. Occasionally, one of those girls, women, somebody tries to couple them up and everyone's like mad at that guy. Like, dude, that's for us. And she's like, are you nuts? Anyway, there was this pass around named Amy. And the manager, Chris Black manager, he goes, one day, he goes, Amy, huh? And I'm like, no. Because she'd do this thing where she'd like look at you and you're like, and then you just go to the back. You just go meet up. You would like leave. She'd follow you 2 minutes later. And I'm like, no. And he goes, no, you didn't hook up with Amy? I'm like, no. He goes, you know, we got cameras in here now. And I'm like, when? And he was like, well, we just got them. And I was like, no. He goes, yeah, Amy in the belly room. I was like, no, it was dark. And they're like, yeah, we got night vision. I'm like, what? He shows me fucking footage.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, of night vision of me sitting down. You know where the wave used to sit?
Yeah.
And me just getting my fucking dick sucked. Yeah. And then out of the back, so I'm sitting here like this, and out of the back, Robert William Abavaya, that homelessy schizophrenic guy, he just like from the shadows, he's like, you can't see him at all. Then all of a sudden he just comes up and he's over me on the top level where the judges sit. And he's over and he's just looking like this. And then he just backs back into the shadows. And I didn't know. My back was turned, she was fucking sucked my dick. We didn't know what happen. I was like, wow, fucking ghost. And anyway, so that happened, right? And then Tripoli shows up. He's like, what the fuck? And everyone's seeing it. We're like showing everybody. I'm like, come on, guys. Come on.
They're watching it.
Yeah, because they have the security footage. And I think that's got to be gone now, but I would love to see it. And then Tripoli's like, when was this? So it was yesterday. He's like, fuck, what time?
Oh, yeah. You already...
Yeah. And it was like, I don't know, like 11. He goes, damn it. Because he was second that night.
Yes.
He was like 1 o'clock. Tripoli got one. And we're all talking about like Tripoli, sloppy seconds. And then eventually, like a day or two later, Hinchcliffe was like, what day was that? And he's like, I was 7 p.m. I'm like, fuck, I was second, you were third. Yeah, that was fun. The cameras, man, it ruins everything.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It'd be like Epstein's Island. There's so many videos out that
I would not have been able to get that hard if I knew what was being filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a key time when they were there, but not aware.
All right, let me give you one more here. Wait, what time? How much are we at?
It's 2:53. We've been recording for a little over an hour.
Under?
Little over.
All right, let me give you a couple more and get you out of here. I know you got shit to do. That's gonna be a hard story to follow.
Put this one on Patreon. Put this next one on Patreon.
Put this one?
Yeah, I don't know. Or one of them. I don't know. That's how you sell the Patreon.
Yeah, that is true because this is a good one. You're gonna be a hard guest to follow. What about roommate? Give me your best roommate story.
Oh, interesting.
That's got to go back to LA. You haven't had a roommate in New York, right?
No. I came to New York and I asked Benji's sister. I went on a couple dates with her. She's so cool. But she used to live in New York. And I was like, tell me the truth. Like, could I get laid if I live in a studio apartment? Because in LA, it was trouble. Unless you were just very beginning and everyone was poor. That's like, ugh. You know? They were very conscious of like, what kind of car is this?
Yeah.
Whatever. So studio apartment. She goes, oh no, if you live alone in New York, that's a massive studio. I was like, wow. It's like, so don't worry about that. I was like, okay. So no, I never lived with anybody in New York. But I mean, living in Edinburgh, so I had these roommates, Ahir and Alex and 2 Alexes. And then one year, they knew each other from the UK and they hooked us up. Avalon hooked us up together and they're great. And then one year DeRosa was coming. So I was like, why don't you live with us? We'll try to find like a 5-bedroom or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so he's there. And these guys are fucking nerds. Ahir is the son of fucking Indian immigrants. He's probably 5'3". He was like a poli-sci major. He knows everything about like governments and stuff like that. Nerd. This other guy, Alex, I think had sex with one person. Another guy was a guitar comp. They're just nerds. They're friendly, but nerds. And I mean, immediately they started picking on DeRosa. They just were like, you're going to be the beta. And it's just, I don't understand how they knew, but they just knew. And he was having just a rough time of it. No one was coming to his shows, which is what happened in Edinburgh. They put him in too big a room. So like maybe filled up one time. Other times it's 6 people and like a 200-seater. Mm-hmm. That's why you got to get a small room. And he was just really fucking frustrated. He got a terrible deal because Avalon just like robs people. So he was losing money and he was just so pissed. And he couldn't get laid, and we were all getting laid. And then finally, one of the Alexes got laid. And he's like, I'm the only one who's not fucking in this house. This is fucking. And he was just fucking lost it. And finally, some chick fucking gave him some charity and just milked his cock. And it was okay. But like, damn, it was tough for a while for him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Dice said it about roommates. He goes, it's all fine. It's all fine. It's all fine. And then one day you wake up, and they're standing over your bed with a hammer in their hand.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
It reminds me of, I lived with 3 dudes in Vegas, and then one of my buddies was going through my other roommate's room to try to find drugs, and then he found you remember those like video cameras that had little discs? I'd filmed some shit with my girl. So while he was trying to find drugs in the other guy's room, he found my porn in that guy's hidden spot. But then again, it was like I couldn't call him on taking it from me because he'd be like, "How the fuck did you figure out I had stolen your porn?" It was like a weird triangle of no trust. Of like, fuck.
My friends had that where there was a power outage at their place in Georgetown, and I guess while he was gone for the weekend or gone visiting somebody, and then he said, you know, 'cause kids are like, what, 23, you know?
Yeah.
And so he had clothes all over, and he came home and there was pushed apart clothes. So it was like just a body-sized space in the clothes and a candle. And he was like, he just knew. He was like, my roommate, you fucked your girlfriend in my room. Why? Why'd you come to my room to fuck? But I get it now. It's
I did it.
It's exciting.
We did it, and I got caught one time doing that. And the girl, my roommate, already hated the girl. Yeah. And we thought she was out of town, and she had like the master suite, so she had a bathtub in there, and we were in there just drinking. They used to have these drinks called Sparks. You ever had? They were like energy beer drinks. Yeah, they were like. So we're just in this. We're just using the big hot tub or like the big bathtub. Yeah. We thought this girl was a long way, and then the girl I was dating just hated her, and she's like, "Can we just go fuck in her bed?" And I was like, "This is hot." And then
it's hot. You're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, and
then
I'm
into this.
Of course, the second. I mean, it was just like she's on top of you, that door opens, and you just hear, "Oh shit!" Like, and then just screaming. Then we have to like run out of her room, all her shit's in there on the floor, and run into the next room. And then it was like, and then obviously it was never the same. That's how you lose a roommate pretty fast. She was gone, but we were.
They're like, well, I don't trust you.
There was something so hot about it, but
when it's wrong, it's like extra hot.
Yeah, and it was just so simple. It's just fucking her bed, but getting caught was like, I've got caught. Have you ever got caught having sex?
No.
The worst was in high school. My original first girlfriend, we got caught. Oof. And the mom, sister, little brother, and then little nephew who was like 2, who was like my best little buddy. I was an 18-year-old kid, so I'd always play with him. And they all come in, and I'm just on top going to town, and I'm like, so then they watch me get dressed, and little kid's running over. He doesn't understand what's going on. He's trying to like play with me. And then she had a big Mexican dad who was like worked for the railroad and her mom was just openly like, he would kill you. Yeah. You're just so lucky you picked the day he's working, and he would have fucking.
Wow. No, that's not true. I hooked up in China with a girl. I don't remember if we fully had sex or not, because it's like, you know how you have a memory of a memory of a memory. But we were hooking up, and her dad fucking busted the door open. Oh shit! A fucking bat started screaming in Mandarin. Yeah, this was outside, not Suzhou. I forget, just over the border from Hong Kong. And I had to like fucking grab shit. And like run her. But he's like holding a bat, so you can't, he's at the door. You can't go. And then he moves a little bit and just run. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know she was 9. I thought she was 11.
And that is why you're perfect for this podcast. We'll end on that. Thank you, Ari. So you want to plug anything? Plug everything real quick?
I don't know when this is coming out, but I'll have a new podcast at some point. You probably can subscribe now, called You Be Trippin'. It's a travel podcast. We go through different country or different place every time with a guest who's been there. It's like, I love travel. I love hearing about it. So like, I'll get you on there.
Wait, you're just going to...
Just hear about it. Like, where have you been? You're like, I did Santino just now about like some islands in Greece. I'm like, tell me all about it. And I really want to hear all about it.
I got some good Costa Rica stuff for you.
That'd be a great one.
Barcelona's good.
Great. Yeah, I can have multiple guests coming multiple times because like, tell me about a new place.
Yeah.
And then also like, I've already done Barcelona, but like your Barcelona's gonna be way different than Joe List.
Yeah.
You know?
We had totally different Barcelonas, but that's awesome. And then the special, if you haven't watched
Ari Shaffir
special.
Jew on YouTube right now. Go click on it.
And he's touring all over.
Some friends.
This is what, you're in the middle of 40 days, right?
Middle of 40 days. That's why you wear that shirt.
That's right.
Comedy works 40.
40, this is it. All right, could have been 40 sold out shows.
Yeah, I'm right in the middle of it. I'm at this weird stage now. I'm like actually writing because I'm like so bored. Because I'm like gone so much.
Well, we had 2 more sold out shows tonight. It's been 12 sold out shows. We'll get you out of here. Yeah, Thank you so much.
Hey, buddy.
That's it.
We'll head over to the Patreon.
Head to the Patreon, subscribe, rate. You guys know what to do. And after this, I'll do the first diary of a piece of shit. So what do you want it to be about? I'll let you pick.
What?
Because I have 100 different like people doing roguish shit. So just you name anything. What do you
mean?
Like how you did it for this not happening. Do you want it to be a drug one, a sex one?
It's not an animal related one.
Okay.
Okay.
It's coming right after this. All right. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.